What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more J-drama score, and we're going back to the score for Tenshi to Akuma, or Angels and Demons. I've reacted to a few tunes from the soundtrack. It was mainly a few months back, right after I got a number of J-drama soundtrack CDs of shows that I had known for many years, because I basically stumbled across a website which does sell the soundtracks, which, you know, if you watch a lot of J-dramas, you'll notice they often will have like advertisements or promos like in the lead up to the show where they talk about, you know, soundtrack available and whatever, but they're not normally available in American music circles. But yeah, I ran across a website that had a number of the soundtracks, and it's fantastic because you end up getting not only the songs or tracks that you know from the score of the show, but oftentimes, you know, they'll use most of a track in one of the episodes or in multiple episodes, but you might not get to hear the full unadulterated track, certainly not with, you know, or without dialogue or sound effects over it. So it's really nice to hear these tracks just unabridged and in completion. And indeed, this is one of the tunes, and this whole soundtrack is done by Hayashi Yuki. I told his story before, but very quickly, he was in university as a gymnast, and he made music for his own routines, and eventually other people in his gymnastics program were like, hey, you make really good music, can you make it for my routine too? So he started doing it for everyone in his program, and then other colleges started contacting him and saying, hey, we were at that meet, the music you made was crazy, can you make music for our program too? So eventually he realized his future was in music. He just makes incredible soundtracks. But yeah, bottom line, a few months ago I got this along with a number of other scores and soundtracks for shows that I know, and I reacted to, I don't know, like 3 or 4 tracks, some of my favorites from the soundtrack, but there's so many more good ones on here, and I was listening to it the other day, and one of the tracks, which basically is like Higi Kukuho, which I think means like securing suspects or something to that effect, like, you know, taking suspects into not captivity, what's the right word, custody. So yeah, I think it means like securing suspects. And again, if just very briefly, because I have talked about it before, it's a cold case drama where they reinvestigate cases that have been dead for a while, and through the use of plea bargains, you know, offering immunity to people if it'll get them to talk about what actually happened, they're able to crack these cold cases. Now, in some cases, you know, by doing that, it kicks up a lot of unpleasant things and, you know, maybe retrospective emotional pain for people who maybe had put these things away and so on. But ultimately, you know, they feel like they have to get to the bottom of this, and people who did wrong, you know, should be held to justice. Although, again, it's a complicated thing because there's cases where the 2 different detectives have different ideas of who they should offer the plea bargain to figure out what happened. And in many cases, no one is entirely, you know, free of any or all guilt. There's often, you know, complicated moral stories that go with these cold cases. So it's a really cool show. The soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. So, like I said, we're going to listen to a tune called Securing Suspects, which is another one, as I was saying, where in the show, I don't think you ever get the full track. You get, you know, 45 seconds of it in this episode or a minute of it in this other episode, but it's, you know, a couple minute track or a few minute track, and it's I think it's fantastic. And there's a part near the beginning actually which sounds like a trance tune or even kind of like a more melodic techno track. And that part I don't think ever plays in any of the episodes. So when this track started, I was like, oh, I kind of recognize this. Oh wait, what's this? I don't remember hearing this at all. And then it goes on, and I think the second half of this tune actually is used in a lot of the episodes. So it was interesting to hear it the other day, but let's get it. This is Hayashi Yuki and the soundtrack for Tenshi to Akuma, or Angels and Demons, and the track translates to Securing Suspects. Or maybe like a Prodigy track. I don't think that part ever plays in any of the episodes, so imagine my surprise the other day. There's little to no action in the show, but if you didn't know better, you'd think this is a chase scene on foot, through alleyways or occasional combat, but it's really not. It's more like trying to see through people's lives, montages of investigating things. And someone who just kicked the door open, like destroying a guitar. I'm not sure this part is played. But this part you hear in bits and pieces. Evaporates. I love it. Again, it's a very kinetic, intense and energetic tune, which, as I said, it's maybe a bit surprising in the sense that there's a couple scenes where, a suspect will try to run once they realize they can't really lie themselves out of the situation or whatever, but that's really not a main feature of the show whatsoever. So if you heard that without knowing anything else about the show, you would think surely there's some action, there's some chase scenes, there's some high physical drama, but it is really more about, cracking the case and, trying to get through the layers of silence, whether that's silence to protect oneself or silence to protect someone that another person cares about. There's a lot of challenges they face. So, really cool tune. I'm going to come back for a couple more from this soundtrack because, again, I feel like, I've done maybe 3 of the 21. Is it 21 tunes? Yeah, 21. So, many, many tracks to go. Do let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.